everybody, and welcome to another amazing video of DIY investing. The Bitcoin and crypto markets are breaking out and are showing a lot more strength as Bitcoin has reclaimed support. During this time, many altcoins are reversing out of major downtrending resistance, and they're showing why they're ultimately going to be reversing over the next couple months. I firmly believe that we're setting up for the biggest altcoin cycle that we have ever seen. The way Bitcoin's breaking out and showing such strength is an early sign that we're about to see a lot more money coming into these markets, and for today's video, I wanted to break down some of my favorite charts that are going to explain exactly what I'm thinking moving forward from here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and with that being said, let's jump right into this amazing video today. Alrighty guys, so here we are to start off today's video looking at Bitcoin in the shorter time frames. I've been updating you guys with, for the last couple months, this range that we've been consolidating inside of. We've had a couple false breakouts being right here going into the ETF, and then we also had a false breakdown right here post ETF when we were seeing Grayscale dumping all of their Bitcoin. So over the course of the last few days, we've seen Bitcoin rallying all the way back up. We've reclaimed this prior support, and we're retesting pretty close back to those same range highs. We're still below it just a little bit, but with us being right at this resistance, I wouldn't be surprised to see a pullback fairly soon inside of here. When I'm looking at kind of the shorter time frames and the Elliott wave count, I'm looking at this being our first wave up. This was probably our wave 3 and wave 4, and I won't be surprised if we're just kind of in the finishing stages of this wave 5. We could peak up a little bit higher. Don't be surprised if we did tag the very top of this range, but we're kind of looking like we're at the point of finishing this impulse before we do start a short-term correction back down. You know, an ABC back down to maybe 41.5 all the way, you know, we could come even all the way back down to this range low. Don't be surprised if the market ends up revisiting the same sort of level once again, where we make this big capitulation before we do finally get a breakout of this. Overall, this is an impulse wave, so any correction should be an opportunity to buy the dip. If we retest all the way back down at this primary support, I do expect that to be the move that shakes out a lot of the weak hands. You know, most people would think it's breaking down. They would think that this is just a lower high. However, with us reclaiming this support, to me, that's a much more encouraging sign than anything. You know, all the ETF was, pre-ETF and post-ETF, it was really just this big bull trap, followed by a bear trap right after, where we wiped out all of the over-leveraged shorts here, and then we wiped out all of the over-leveraged longs right here. So it was just this double whammy for both sides. If we do see a pullback back down, I think that that's going to be an opportunity to buy the dip before we do inevitably break from this range. So now coming over here, guys, taking a look at the total altcoin market cap. This was a chart I updated you with just recently over the last couple days, and I think it's important that we're once again talking about it, because when we're looking at the Wyckoff accumulation of our cycle, this is the total altcoin market cap, keep in mind, we're seeing almost a picture perfect textbook example of a Wyckoff schematic number 2. And that's what you're going to notice right over here. The way our price action was ever since we had this capitulation in June, right after, you know, all the lenders and centralized exchanges went bankrupt, we made this little lower high, and this is really what starts the whole pattern, where we can see this black line, that's where our AR is, and then we have this other peak right here. Even though the market's going to do its own sort of thing, I'm trying to help you guys be able to visualize how these sort of patterns end up playing out, and how the price action itself may vary from each and every cycle. It might not follow a perfect example of this setup, but I do find it pretty insane how correlated this is already following to it. We see the same sort of consolidation here where we make this peak right here, we retest the same support level, we make another lower high that we peak at, and then the same sort of consolidation that we see here is almost the same sort of thing that we just went through leading into this most recent breakout. So when I'm looking at this chart, and now that I'm seeing us consolidating on top of this prior high and this prior high as new support, you know, inside of this move, no matter what the consolidation route takes, no matter if we made a lower low here before going back up, no matter if we broke out right here and did something like this, I don't really care how the price action is going to look. What I'm looking at is the fact that we are now breaking out from a 530-day bottom formation. So this is just an early sign that, you know, all of these markets are about to be reversing and taking off in a big way. We're not that far off from prior cycles, which is why I think that, you know, we might not instantly go into a new all-time high as fast as this shows. It might, you know, rally up to this level. We might see a big correction like this, consolidate before doing that. Don't be surprised if we see this play out a little bit differently. I don't think that we have to just go instantly into that new all-time high, considering a little bit more consolidation would give us a little bit more time to accumulate. It would build a more stable foundation of support going into this parabolic run, and I just think it would be better for everybody if we ended up having some type of short-term correction. It's not guaranteed, and that's why the only thing that we can do is look to be maximizing the fullest potential of the cycle with long-term holds. The majority of people are not going to end up being able to profitably trade, so the best thing you can do is focus on the long term, because as we're seeing these major reversals, textbook examples of reversals playing out, this is the moment where we really just want to be doing our part by holding. We're only going to cost ourselves more long-term profit, thinking that we're some type of expert trader, trying to swing trade every single high and low. You're going to cost yourself more profit. Now is what I'm doing personally is holding the whole cycle. That's really all I care about. So when I see these type of setups playing out in real time, it makes me excited, because I know everybody that watches this channel is about to make a lot of money. This is my third bull market. The first bull market, I made some money and then lost it all. The second bull market, I made a significant amount of money, was able to get my family out of debt, buy my mom, pay off my mom's house, I should say. I didn't buy it for her. But then I was able to do a lot for myself, be able to take care of some of my biggest goals that I had for myself. And, most importantly with this cycle, it's like I have more than I've ever had going into a bull run. I am more positioned and prepared than ever before. And I do believe that, because of my 8 years in crypto, what we're going to be able to do and share value back to each other this cycle is going to be so much more powerful, because in the first two cycles I didn't know a lot about fundamentals. I didn't understand different cryptos. I didn't understand how technology worked for the most part. Whereas going into this bull market, we're already early to a number of trends. We were early to Arbitrum. We got that airdrop. We've been early to Optimism and some of those tokens. We've been early to MetaSTAO before that started taking off. So there's a number of these narratives that are starting to take off going into this next cycle, and it's encouraging because we're at the very, very beginning of all of that. So all we're looking to do right now is long hold. Don't, overcomplicate the scenario. Don't overcomplicate your strategy when all we can really do is focus on, maximizing what the cycle is going to give us. If we go and do a new all-time high, like I do believe that we're headed fairly soon, you don't want to be caught off guard, missing out on profits by trying to take too many profits early on. If some of these altcoins end up running 50 to a 100x, you're not going to be able to call the exact top. So the best thing you can do is hold the majority of that all the way through. You can take profits at some point if you're up a life-changing amount of money, but understand that the hardest part of this cycle is now going to be delayed gratification. How much profit are you willing to make before you start taking that and actually selling it off? Everybody's threshold is different, but it's honestly the people that can delay that gratification the most that end up making the most profit. But there does come a point where we just have to remember, lock up those profits regardless of what anybody says. There will be a topping point of this cycle, just as there always has been. So as long as we're holding and buying in now and then taking profits once we are in that new all-time high, I don't think you're really going to hate yourself by taking profits a little bit too early. Nobody's going to nail the exact top. But if we're knowing that the 4-year cycle is very much in play, we understand that, sometime end of year 2025, if we follow a normal 4-year cycle, that would be our topping point. If we start doing something like this, we might end up topping early. If we start instantly breaking out and going into a new all-time high like this, I'm going to be a little bit skeptical on us actually going all the way out to the end of the year 2025. So this is kind of just my thoughts when I'm looking at the altcoins and how I'm seeing this market develop. Now guys, I did want to jump into the total DeFi market cap, because I think that this is at a very important point where all we've really done is made our first breakout of the bottom formation. This actually outperformed all of the other markets on this breakout. And as we've seen these two little pullbacks in here, it's not even retesting the highs of these. It's pretty much holding, really good support, better support than the rest of the markets. And it tells me that there's a lot of money inside of DeFi, and there's a lot of money fueling DeFi going into this next cycle. We've already broken from all major downtrending resistance. That was what this move was. At the exact same time of us breaking downtrending resistance, we also broke horizontal resistance. So we had a double breakout, confirmation from two different sources. And now that we're just kind of sitting here on support, assuming this doesn't end up being a head and shoulder top before we do something like this, I think that regardless, bearish scenario, we retest this high one more time before the next breakout. Bullish scenario, this ends up just going up like this inside of the next move. There's only two scenarios that I really see fit for this. We've broken out of two different major levels. I think that most likely we end up getting a breakout running up to about 105 billion. So, we still have some decent upside, and I think the majority of the gains are going to be made inside of DeFi related protocols. That's where all of the institutional money is going to gravitate. That's where all the people are trying to earn yield. Everybody that's trying to do any sort of passive investing in crypto, they're going to flock to DeFi to do all of that. So we got to think that big picture at 73 billion total market cap, it's kind of, hilarious to think how undervalued this stuff is long term. So definitely be watching out for DeFi. Look into DeFi related protocols. The interesting thing about Arbitrum is 75% of all Ethereum that is actually leaving centralized exchanges, it's actually leaving and going to Arbitrum. So the majority of the DeFi money is finding its way over to Arbitrum. Metis is another one of those. Optimism is another one of those. There's a number of chains out there that do garnish a lot of TVL. However, when we're looking at these things long term, I think that this is only the beginning of this money coming into these markets. In big picture, if I had to bet my money on one specific narrative to make the most money, I think it's probably going to be found inside of the DeFi related market. So watch out for this. Last up in today's video is going to be Bitcoin's dominance. This is super important. We're talking about it considering we had this buyback just recently as Bitcoin started breaking out, and we're still kind of just consolidating right here at this weird sort of consolidation. I don't know what you'd call it. This did look a little bit like a head and shoulder top, and if this ends up breaking down where we're at, I do think that that's going to be the point where this thing officially reverses to, I think it's going to come to a minimum 48%, but this is going to be the cycle for altcoins where this thing fully reverses into a brand new all-time low. So when I'm looking at this cycle, it's going to be so much more profitable, considering in the 2017 cycle, the reason why this cycle was so powerful was because Bitcoin dominance was falling to new all-time lows. Now, the real reason why Bitcoin dominance fell to new lows was because Ethereum came onto the scene. When Ethereum came on to the crypto markets, it allowed everybody to be able to build and issue smart contracts, build decentralized applications, do all of these things, basically created the ERC20 tokens that we all trade today. So much development and new infrastructure was built because of what Ethereum brought. So when we saw all of these new tokens come onto the market, and it was easy to launch them, we saw the ICO craze, a lot of that market bled out Bitcoin. The dominance bled out. We saw this fall all the way from 96.5% all the way to like 35%. So it was a huge move for the altcoins. Now, in our last cycle, they never made a new all-time low. We went from 73.5% dominance all the way to 39%. We didn't even retest the all-time low of the 2017 bull market. So altcoins in the last cycle were only ever just doing this bearish consolidation. However, long term, when we're looking at this pattern, this is a downtrending resistance, this is a downtrending resistance, and these are all three lower highs. Lower high, lower high, and this is a horizontal support. This is a descending triangle. This is one of the most bearish patterns that you're ever going to find inside of the market, especially one that's developing over the course since 2018, right? Well, I mean, technically 2017. This is a massive descending triangle. Once we break down from this support at like 39-40% dominance, we're looking at this having another one of these 2017 bull markets. And I think that the real reason why we're looking at all of this fundamentally is instead of there being Ethereum and now us being able to have all of these ERC20 tokens, imagine there's like 500 of different Ethereums, and then inside of those 500 different Ethereums, there's all of these new altcoins that are going to be added to that project that are now going to be blowing up and making their own cycles. So when we're looking at these things, the difference between 2017 is you went from layer 0 to layer 1. And through layer 1, we now had altcoins that you could build through ERC20s. Now, we get to 2024, 2025, where we're at today, we now have like 500 different Ethereums that have all of their own sort of tokens in the ecosystem. They're all going to be blowing up in a similar sort of way that Ethereum did. They don't have to do 3000x or whatever, but them doing well in a cycle, all of those low cap cryptos are also going to be doing well. And that's why we're going to be seeing Bitcoin dominance falling to a brand new all-time low for the first time since that 2017 bull market. It's not rocket science. It's super easy to identify in the charts. When we're looking at all of this new money into crypto, all the infrastructure that's been added in the last couple of years, I think it's a no-brainer that this will be the biggest altcoin cycle we're ever going to have. And anybody positioned right now ready for this is going to potentially make life-changing, wealth for maybe generational wealth. I really think that if you're going to get ready for a cycle, if there's a cycle to change your life financially, this is the one to do it. Put all your eggs into this basket. Do not underestimate the power of a full-blown bull market, because I was there early 2016. I was there throughout the entirety of 2017 trading. I saw just exactly how powerful that was. Now, I made life-changing money in this last cycle on this little tiny baby of a pump for altcoins. If we're doing another one of these 2017 alt runs like I believe we're going to, I cannot stress how much money you guys will actually make in the process. I know for a fact, what I'm going to be able to do. I know for a fact what you guys are going to be able to do with fractions of the amount that even I started with in the last cycle, because if this is the cycle where you're looking at multi-thousand-x returns, it only takes one winner to really change your life, and I firmly believe that you guys are going to be able to do that. So thank you so much for watching this channel. If you found value in this video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these videos. If you guys want to join the Discord server and see how I'm actually investing my money, any altcoins I'm going to be trading, now that we're at the first breakdown in the beginning of this alt run, this is going to be the most profitable one. So if you want to see what altcoins I'm looking at, which ecosystems I'm bridging to, different things like that, we've been absolutely killing the market ever since the beginning of this bull run, being early to airdrops, being early to Arbitrum, being early to Metis, and having some of these ecosystem projects just blowing up in profit. This is only the beginning, and I can't stress enough how much it pays to be early to this stuff. So if you guys do want to see how I'm investing, links are in the description to go ahead and sign up on my website. On my website, you're going to be able to actually sign up for my private group, one-time payment, lifetime access. So as long as I'm trading, as long as I'm investing in the markets, even if I take profits on crypto and move into the stock market, anything like that, you guys are going to be able to follow along with all that I do with my money and portfolio. So check it out. Links are in the description. And with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next one. As always, peace out.